Hey guys, what's up? My name is Rachel and today I'm going to be filming a bookshelf tour for you guys. So Beth and I have 3 white IKEA Billy shelves and then we have a black shelf from Target that has no name. But we thought this would be a fun time to do. We just reorganized our bookshelves. They're by genre now, and I'll kind of explain that as we go through. Our idea of genre-based is a little different than some people's, so I'll explain that to you. I don't have any of my pops and stuff on the shelves right now just because we decided that we have so many that it's probably better to do a separate video of what's on my shelf that isn't book related by itself. So for now they are all clean except for our top shelves because those didn't change when we just organized. So yeah, let's just go ahead and jump into it. Okay, so our first shelf on our far left is our Cassandra Clare shelf. These are all best books. I don't own any Cassandra Clare, don't shoot me. So these are in a box set, so I'm not going to take them out, and these are stacked funny, so I'm not going to show you them either, but I'll show you all our freestanding ones. So the first one on here is Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy by Cassandra Clare, Sarah Rees Brennan, Maureen Johnson, and Robin Wasserman. Infernal Devices trilogy, and this is a prequel trilogy. So Clockwork Angel, Clockwork Prince, and Clockwork Princess, books 1, 2, and 3 in that order. And these are all by Cassandra Clare, obviously. The next one is the last book in the series. This is the only one I'm going to show you because it's by itself, because she got the box set before the rest. It's City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare, and it's book 6. Through the rest real quick. City of Bones, City of Ashes, City of Glass, City of Fallen Angels, and City of Lost Souls. And then over here we have them again, just in the really cool covers. I'll just show you the top one. So again, that's City of Heavenly Fire, but those are the covers and they all kind of look similar to that. Is The Bane Chronicles by Cassandra Clare, Sarah Rees Brennan, and Maureen Johnson. And then we have the Dark Artifices series, Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. Then Lord of Shadows. Okay, this next shelf is the Rick Riordan Shrine, as I like to call it. These are all mine. Beth doesn't own any of these are all mine. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and go through them. These I will pull out, I think. We'll see, I don't know. I'm feeling lazy, so we'll just see what happens. So first I have the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series. I am missing book 2. I did have it, I had it in paperback and I'm trying to get them on hardback. So I only have these 4 right now. Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. The Titan's Curse, which is book 3, because I don't have Sea of Monsters. 4, The Battle of the Labyrinth. Book 5, which is The Last Olympian. All of the Heroes of Olympus series. Lost Hero, The Son of Neptune. The Mark of Athena. The House of Hades. The Blood of Olympus. Also have this gorgeous cover of the Heroes of Olympus, The Blood of Olympus, which is the final book. I feel like this is the British cover, I'm not sure, correct me if I'm wrong. But if no one corrects me, I'm going to continue to call it the British cover, and it is beautiful. The first 2 books in the Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard series, The Sword of Summer, and The Hammer of Thor. Then I have the first book in the Trials of Apollo series, which is The Hidden Oracle. I have books 1 and 3 in the Kane Chronicles. The first one is The Red Pyramid, and the third one is The Serpent Shadow, and I'm trying to get book 2. So this is our Harry Potter shelf. We have 3 different editions going on, and so I'll just kind of go down the line and show you. I'm not going to take out the American hardcovers because I feel like a lot of you guys know what they look like, and if you don't, like, come on. So we have the first 7. This is our only complete set. We have all 7, I'm sorry, not the first 7. This is the only complete set we have on the shelf. And then we have these covers, which we got from Book Outlet. I'm not really sure what they're called. I think they're British, I'm not sure. Chamber of Secrets, Prisoner of Azkaban, The Goblet of Fire, and The Deathly Hallows. I have random ones because we're just kind of acquiring them as they come up on Book Outlet, so that's why we have 2, 3, 4, and 7. And then I have a box set of the original UK covers, and I will take these out because they're beautiful. So we have Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. And then over here on the end, we just have some of the Hogwarts Library, Quidditch Through the Ages, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, and The Tales of the Beetle Bard. Okay, so now we move into urban fantasy. That's what we started with, and we'll just kind of go down and I'll show you the progression. But this is our urban fantasy Wonder Woman Warbringer by Leigh Bardugo. First 2 books in the Diviners series by Libba Frey, The Diviners and Lair of Dreams. And then we have an arc of The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw that we got at YALLFest, and this book comes out in March of next year. I love that we have face-out books because I have to do nothing to show you this one, and so the next book on our shelf is Caraval by Stephanie Garber, Evernight by Claudia Gray. And then we have the first 2 books in the Conspiracy of Us series, I'm going to call it. And that is The Conspiracy of Us, Map of Fates by Maggie Hall. We have Magonia by Maria Headley, and Roseblood by A.G. Howard. Rest of Us Just Live Here by Patrick Ness. The first 4 books in the Kingdom Keepers series by Ridley Pearson. Disney After Dark, Disney at Dawn, Disney in Shadow, and Power Play. I have all of the Tales of the Peculiar Children books that are out. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, Hollow City, and Library of Souls. I also have the bind-up of stories, and that is Tales of the Peculiar. And then we have book 1 in the Raven cycle, The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. Alright, and now we have the last half of our urban fantasy moving into the beginning of our high fantasy. So first we have Black Widow Forever Red, Black Widow Red Vengeance, both by Margaret Stohl, and these are the, I think it's just a duology, it's the Black Widow duology. Daughter of Smoke and Bone series, we have Daughters of Smoke and Bone, Days of Blood and Starlight, and Dreams of Gods and Monsters, and these are all by Laini Taylor. We have Afterworlds by Scott Westerfeld. Now moving into high fantasy, we have the first 2 books in the Red Queen series, Red Queen and Glass Sword by Victoria Aveyard. And then we have the Six of Crows duology, Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, both by Leigh Bardugo, as well as we have the bind-up of Fairy Tales set in the same universe, The Language of Thorns, also by Leigh Bardugo. We have Three Dark Crowns by Kendare Blake, An Inheritance of Ashes by Leah Bobbitt, the first book in the Land of Stories series, Land of Stories The Wishing Well by Chris Colfer, Graceling, Fire, and Bitter Blue. Continuing with our high fantasy, The Warrior Heir by Cindy Williams Chima, which is the first book in, I want to say, the Warrior Heir series. The Demon King by Cindy Williams Chima, which is the first book in the Seven Realms novel series. And then we have Flamecaster, also by Cindy Williams Chima, which is a Shattered Realms novel. A Shadow Bright and Burning by Jessica Cluse. 2 books in the Truth Witch series, which is Truth Witch, Wind Witch, both by Susan Dennard. We have The Glass Spare by Lauren DeStefano. Find by Heather Dixon. We have an arc of Tess of the Road by Rachel Hartman, which comes out in February of next year. The Diabolic by S.J. Kincaid. And then Princess of Thorns by Stacey J. And now we kind of get into the Sarah J. Maas, shrine. The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, Fire, Queen of Shadows, and Empire of Storms, which are all of the current except for Tower of Dawn, which kind of sort of stands by itself. 5 books and the bind-up for the Throne of Glass series. We have the A Court of Thorns and Roses trilogy series. I think it's going to be a series now. So, trilogy. Court of Thorns and Roses, Court of Mist and Fury, and A Court of Wings and Ruin, all by Sarah J. Maas. And then finally on this shelf we have A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. Okay, so the lighting may be a bit different to you because it's later, so we're using all artificial lighting, so I apologize for that. I had to work. Also, you might hear rain in the background because it is currently storming like you wouldn't believe. But yeah, so continuing on, this is still more of our high fantasy, and pretty soon it'll transfer into our retellings, is Reign of the Fallen by Sarah Glenn Marsh. This is an advanced reader copy.
Holy cow.
Mother of Pearl, I hope you can hear me. And this goes on sale in January of next year. Then we have Soundless by Rochelle Mead, The Knife of Never Letting Go, and The Ask and the Answer, the first 2 books in the Chaos Walking series by Patrick Ness. Aragon by Christopher Paolini, the first book in the Inheritance cycle. Okay. The Kiss of Deception, The Heart of Betrayal, and The Beauty of Darkness by Mary E. Pearson. This is the Remnant Chronicles. Snow Like Ashes by Sarah Roche. First book in the prequel series by Morgan Rhodes, A Book of Spirits and Thieves. Fallen Kingdoms, Rebel Spring, Gathering Darkness, and Frozen Tides, the first 4 books of the Fallen Kingdom series by Morgan Rhodes. The Winter's Curse, The Winter's Crime, and The Winter's Kiss, all by Marie Rakowski. The Archived by Victoria Schwab, and finally The Savage Song, the first book in the Monsters of Verity series by Victoria Schwab. Continuing on to this next shelf, this is the rest of our high fantasy moving into our retellings. A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab, A Gathering of Shadows by V.E. Schwab, and A Conjuring of Light, also by V.E. Schwab. This is the Shades of Magic series. And then we have another advanced reader's copy. This is Ash Princess by Laura Sebastian, and this will go on sale in April of next year. The Crown's Game by Evelyn Skye, An Ember in the Ashes, and A Torch Against the Night, both by Sabaa Tahir. Then we have an arc of the prequel to the Red Abbey Chronicles. I can't say that, so I'm not going to try. And it's by Maria, a name I can't pronounce, so I'm not going to try. And this will come out in January 2018. I have Rebel of the Sands by Alwyn Hamilton. I love this cover. At the beginning of our, retelling section. I have The Forbidden Wish by Jessica Khoury. 1,000 Nights and Spindle by E.K. Johnston. Gorgeous covers. Total goals. Reign of Shadows and Rise of Fire by Sophie Jordan. Wicked by Gregory Maguire. Cinder. Scarlet. Cress. Winter. Stars Above. The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. These 4 are the actual series, and then we have the bind-up of after. Not before, we don't have first. Wires and Nerve by Marissa Meyer. It's like a companion to the Lunar Chronicles, and it's a graphic novel. Heartless by Marissa Meyer. This is the Owl Crate exclusive cover. And to finish off the shelf, we have Dorothy Must Die by Danielle Page. So now, we're finishing up with our retellings and then moving into our sci-fi. We have The Wicked Will Rise, the second book in the Dorothy Must Die series by Danielle Page. And to finish out our retellings, we have Hunted by Megan Spooner. We're starting our sci-fi, starting with Star Wars Fate of the Jedi Outcast by Aaron Alston. Now we have Lux Beginnings, Lux Consequences, and Lux Opposition, all by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Then we have Star Wars Crucible by Troy Denning. Star Wars Fate of the Jedi Apocalypse, Troy Denning. Then we have Brightly Burning by Alexa I don't know. This is an arc, and it comes out in May of next year. I'm currently reading it, and it's everything. And now we have kind of my Claudia Gray section. And it's the one that's back in urban fantasy, but whatever. So we have Bloodline, Leia, Princess of Alderaan, Lost Stars by Claudia Gray as well, 1,000 Pieces of You, and 10,000 Skies Above You, both by Claudia Gray. These are the first 2 in the Firebird trilogy. Illumine by, I almost said Jay Kaufman, again, Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. As the second book in that series, Gemina, clearly both by the same people again. Anyway. And last on this shelf, we have Alienated and Invaded, both by Melissa Landers. Now we're continuing on with our sci-fi, and then this will eventually move into the beginning of our supernatural. So starting out, we have Starflight by Melissa Landers, Keepers of the Labyrinth by Aaron E. Moulton, Across the Universe and A Million Suns, both by Beth Revis. These are the first 2 in the Across the Universe trilogy. We do not have book 3 because we hate its cover. Next, we have Star Wars from a Certain Point of View, 40 stories celebrating 40 years of Star Wars. These are by a bunch of different authors, and I haven't even read it, but I had to have it because it was Star Wars, and Claudia Gray writes one, and I'm trash for her Star Wars, so. And the last book that we consider sci-fi, Star Wars Heir to the Empire by Timothy Zahn. So now we're starting our supernatural section, White Hot Kiss, Stone Cold Touch, and Every Last Breath, all by Jennifer L. Armentrout, and this is the Dark Elements trilogy. The Coldest Girl in Cold Town by Holly Black, The Siren by Kiera Cass, Poison Princess by Cressley Cole. This is the first book in the Arcana Chronicles. Silver in the Blood by Jessica Day George. Loving this cover. I'm lazy, so I'm just going to run you through these. This is the Vampire Academy series by Rochelle Mead, which is Vampire Academy, Frostbite, Shadow Kiss, Blood Promise, Spirit Bound, and Last Sacrifice. Okay, now continuing on, this is going to finish out our supernatural and then move into our dystopian. So first we have the Bloodline series by Rochelle Mead. I'm not going to pull these out either, but they are right here, and they are beautiful. And they are the Bloodlines, the Golden Lily, the Indigo Spell, the Fiery Heart, the Ruby Circle, and Silver Shadows. And these are all by Rochelle Mead. Then of course we have the Twilight series, which is Twilight, New Moon, Eclipse, and Breaking Dawn, and these are all by Stephenie Meyer. Then finally for our Supernatural we have Between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea by April Genevieve Tuchok. Okay, so starting with our dystopian now, Flawed by Celia Ahern, The Darkest Minds, Never Fade, In the Afterlight, all by Alexandra Bracken. These are in a box set, so I'm not going to pull them out, but next we would have the Selection series by Kiera Cass, and we have the Selection, the One, and the Elite. Next on the shelf we have the Hunger Games series, so we have the Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Mockingjay, all by Suzanne Collins. And then last on this shelf we have Elusive by Emily Lloyd-Jones. Okay. Alright, so this is going to be the end of our dystopian, and then moving into our historical fantasy, as we're calling it. Basically historical fiction that's like got fantastical elements to it. It's like urban fantasy, but historical. So, we have a naked copy, unfortunately, of The Thousandth Floor by... I can't remember her first name. Her last name's McGee. I want to say it's Catherine, but I might be wrong. Next we have the Under the Never Sky series by Veronica Rossi, which is Under the Never Sky, Through the Evernight, Into the Still Blue. It makes a sentence. Isn't that cute? We have the Divergent series, which is Divergent, Insurgent, Allegiant, which we don't like to speak of, all by Veronica Roth. And then we have The Host by Stephenie Meyer, Zeros by Scott Westerfeld, and finishing out our dystopians, Uglies, Pretties, and Specials, the first 3 books in the Ugly series by Scott Westerfeld. I consider this a trilogy because extras was unnecessary, and yes, I said it. So now we're moving into our historical fantasy. First we have Vengeance Road by Aaron Bowman, Passenger and Wayfarer by Alexandra Bracken, Walk on Earth a Stranger, and Like a River Glorious, the first 2 books in the Walk on Earth a Stranger series by Ray Carson. And then we have this beautiful new book, Invictus by Ryan Groden. Okay. So this is going to finish out our historical fantasy and then move into our just historical fiction. We have Wolf by Wolf by Ryan Groden, and The Walled City, also by Ryan Groden. The Dark Days Club by Alison Goodman. And then we have one of my favorite books, and that's My Lady Jane by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. Super excited for My Plain Jane to come out next year. We have Grave Mercy, Dark Triumph, and Mortal Heart, the His Fair Assassins trilogy by Robin Lefevre? I don't know. Have The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. Finishes out our historical fantasy genre that we've created, and now we're moving into the historical fiction. With Prisoner of Night and Fog by Anne Blankman, All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr, Ivory and Bone by Julie Eschbaugh, Outlander by Dinah Gabaldon, The White Queen by Philippa Gregory, The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, A School for Brides by Patrice Kindle, Under a Painted Sky by Stacey Lee, The Falconer by Elizabeth May, Nefertiti by Michelle Moran, and finally on this shelf, The Lost Girl of Astor Street by Stephanie Merle. So this shelf will finish out our historical fiction and then move into our mysteries / thrillers. First we have A Voice in the Wind and An Echo in the Darkness, the first 2 books in the Mark of the Lion series by Francine Rivers. Redeeming Love, also by Francine Rivers. And then we have 2 copies of Between Shades of Grey by Ruta Sepetys, Out of Easy, also by Ruta Sepetys, Salt to the Sea by Ruta Sepetys, Rebel Mechanics by Shanna Swenson, Codename Verity by Elizabeth Ween, The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak. So now we'll transition into our mysteries, starting with A Study in Charlotte by Brittany Cavallaro, and then with Malice by Eileen Cook. Then we have These Shallow Graves by Jennifer Donnelly. Then we have my mass market mysteries, Most of these are Temperance Brennan novels, but some of them aren't. But my the Brennan novels are The Bone Collection, which is a prequel, Bones Never Lie, and Speaking in Bones, which are like 17 and 18 in the series. And then Deja Dead, Death du Jour, Deadly Decisions, and Fatal Voyage, which are the first 4 in the series. Yes, I have random ones. It's okay. We're working on it. Eventually, one day I'll have them all. And then I have 2 Tess Gerston books, Playing with Fire, and the last Rosalind Isles novel, which is Die Again. And then to finish off this shelf, we have Stalking Jack the Ripper and Hunting Prince Dracula by Carrie Maniscalco. If you haven't read these books, I highly recommend. I've only read the first one, but totally worth it. This shelf will finish out our mystery and then transition into our contemporary. First, we have Kiss, Kill, Vanish by Jessica Martinez. We have Jacoby, Beastly Bones, and Ghostly Echoes, the first 3 books in the Jacoby series by William Ritter. Daughter of Deep Silence by Carrie Ryan. The Bone Season and The Mime Order, the first 2 books in the Bone Season series by Samantha Shannon. And now moving into our contemporary, we have The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertelli. We have an arc of Down and Across by Arvin Ahmadi. This comes out January of next year. We have The Problem with Forever by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Alex Approximately by Jen Bennett. Then I have an arc of The Whole Thing Together by Anne Brashers, which I still haven't read, even though it came out in like May of this year. Next we have American Panda by Gloria Chow. This is also an arc, and it comes out sometime next year. I don't know, and the spine's on the other side, so. Okay, now we have an arc of Time Bomb by Joel Charbonneau. She's the author who wrote the Testing trilogy, which I haven't read. And this comes out in March of next year. Then we have Dash and Lily's Book of Dares, and The 12 Days of Dash and Lily by Rachel Kahn and David Levithan. Then we have My Life Next Door by Huntley Fitzpatrick, What I Thought Was True, also by Huntley Fitzpatrick, If I Stay, Where She Went by Gail Forman, Just One Day by Gail Forman as well, Someday, Someday Maybe by Lauren Graham, and lastly we have Come Back to Me by Mila Gray. Okay, I apologize that the camera angle's a little weird. We're on the bottom shelf, and yeah, it's just hard. So anyway, but this is our last row of shelves before we'll do like a classics one at the end, because we have a separate shelf for that kind of stuff. But this is going to be contemporary, basically until the last shelf, which is like poetry and graphic novels. So first we have An Abundance of Catherines by John Green, The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, Paper Towns by John Green. Then we have Will Grayson by John Green and David Levithan. Then we have an arc of Chemistry Lessons by Meredith Goldstein, which comes out in June of next year. Love and Other Carnivorous Plants by Florence Gonsalves. This is an advanced reader copy, and it'll come out next year in May. A Little Something Different and Signs Point to Yes, both by Sandy Hall. Then we have Why We Broke Up by Daniel Handler, which is also Lemony Snicket. The Flip Side by Sean Johnson. One Tuesday Morning by Karen Kingsbury. Even Now and Ever After by Karen Kingsbury. Everything Leads to You by Nina LaCour. Love is the Higher Law by David Levithan. Every Day, also by David Levithan. And Are We There Yet by David Levithan. We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. The Start of Me and You by Emery Lord. The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson. Amy and Roger's Epic Detour by Morgan Matson. Second Chance Summer by Morgan Matson. And finally, Since You've Been Gone, also by Morgan Matson. When Dimple Met Rishi by Sindha Menon. Being Sloane Jacobs by Lauren Moreau. And finally on the shelf, we have Instructions for a Secondhand Heart by Tamsin Murray, which comes out in December of this year. And this is our last contemporary shelf. So yeah, this is all contemporary except for one, and I'll let you know which one is not. We have This Is Where It Ends by Marie, I can't say her name. This Is Where It Ends by this person. Anna and the French Kiss, Lola and the Boy Next Door, Isla and the Happily Ever After, all by Stephanie Perkins. Geekerella by Ashley Poston. Attachments and Eleanor and Park, both by Rainbow Rowell. The Beginning of Everything by Robin Schneider. Challenger Deep by Neil Schusterman. The Way I Used to Be by Amber Smith. Windfall by Jennifer E. Smith, The Geography of You and Me, and The Statistical Probability of Love at First Sight, both by Jennifer E. Smith. Dear Martin by Nick Stone, The Memory of Light by Francisco X. Stork, We Should Hang Out Sometime by Josh Sundquist, Love and Gelato by Jenna Evans Welch, The Distance Between Us, The Fill-In Boyfriend, On the Fence, all by Casey West, Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon, Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. And the last book on the shelf is actually not contemporary, it's non-fiction, but it didn't really have any place to go, so we stuck it here. That is Harry, A History by Melissa Anelli. Okay, and this last shelf is my comedian memoirs slash just regular memoirs, because Lori's not really a comedian. And then I have a couple poetry books. First, I have Seriously, I'm Kidding by Ellen DeGeneres, Bossy Pants by Tina Fey, Wishful Drinking by Carrie Fisher. I love this cover. Talking as Fast as I Can by Lauren Graham. I Got This to Gold and Beyond by Lori Hernandez. Is Everyone Hanging Out Without Me and Other Concerns? And Why Not Me, both by Mindy Kaling. Scrappy Little Nobody by Anna Kendrick. And my last memoir is Yes Please by Amy Poehler. So now I have 3 poetry books. One is Skyscraping by Cordelia Jensen. This is actually like a novel, but it's told completely in verse, but it follows one cohesive story. I Wrote This For You, Please Find This by Ian S. Thomas. The Princess Saves Herself in this one by Amanda Lovelace. I have, it's falling. Then I have a couple graphic novels. Then we have the Alex and Ada graphic novels, volume 1, 2, and 3 by Jonathan Luna and Sarah Vaughn. Then I have all 5 of the Nightwing comics from the New 52. I'm not going to show you all of them because I'm like, don't care. But yeah. Grayson Volume 1 and Midnighter Volume 1. It's these ones, they don't want to stay. I have volumes 1 and 2 of the new Hawkeye series. Yeah. The last of the shelf is just a couple of my standalone comics. They're called trade comics, just a couple random ones that I have. Both of our bookmark cups, and then just some like bookend such stuff. So yeah. So this is our classics slash whatever shelf. So this top shelf is all of my theology or things of that nature, and then some of my school books, and then finishing out with our Bibles and just a couple journals. I'm just gonna pull out my theology books. I'm not gonna show you all my Bibles. They're all kind of plain. I don't like fancy covered ones, and it's not necessary. So yeah, I'll just show you my theology books and my school books, and then we'll move on. James Baldwin's Go Tell It on the Mountain. This is one of my school books. It's for, all of these books that I say are school are actually for the same class, which is Survey of Black Literature. I have this little devotional called Emerge and Engage, a 30-day journey, and I got this when I was a senior in high school and I graduated, and I still haven't done it, so we'll see how much longer this hangs on. And then I have Your First 2 Years in Youth Ministry by Doug Fields, You're Already Amazing by Holly Girth, Finding Your Voice by Natalie Grant, Living by the Book by Howard and William Hendricks, Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis. And then I have another school book, Lost in the City by Edward P. Jones, Blue Like Jazz, Searching for God Knows What, both by Donald Miller, The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison, Knowing God by J.I. Packer, and Desiring God by John Piper, and these are both books that I'm borrowing from my boss. And then the last book that I'm going to show you on this shelf is also from my Black Literature class, and it is Black Boy by Richard Wright. Just like kind of run down and show you like what translations I have. I'm not going to pull them out. I have the She Reads Truth Christian Standard Bible. I have just a general ESV, journaling ESV, an NIV study Bible. This is actually my sister's, which is like an NIV teen study Bible. And then I have an NIV Thin Line and my NLT journaling Bible. Okay, now we're moving into our classics. Most of these are our leather-bound classics, or like our fancy-looking classics. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna pull these out because they're pretty. So first we have the complete novels of Jane Austen. Then we have The Arabian Nights by Sir Richard Burton. 4 complete novels by Charles Dickens. This has Great Expectations, Hard Times, A Christmas Carol, and A Tale of Two Cities. The complete poems of Emily Dickinson. The complete Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. The complete tales and poems of Sir Edgar Allan Poe. Mary Poppins, I think all 4 of them. Yes. Yeah. It's the Complete Mary Poppins. It doesn't say it, so I kind of fumbled that. This is the 80th anniversary edition, and it's by P.L. Travers. We have Mark Twain and 5 of his novels: The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, The Prince and the Pauper, Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court, and The Tragedy of Pudd'nhead Wilson. 4 of Jules Verne's novels: 5 Weeks in a Balloon, 5 Weeks in a Balloon, A Journey to the Center of the Earth, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and Around the World in 80 Days. And then we have a collection of Edith Wharton's novels. Then we have this little book that we got for free in one of the Second & Charles bins. It's Europe on a Shoestring, because we are all suckers and want to travel to Europe even though it's expensive. Alright, so now we're moving into more of our classics. These are just like standalones or smaller bind-ups. And just a couple random things. We have some children's classics on here, so not all of them are like classics, but whatever. I'm not going to take these out because they're in a box set, but we have Anne of Green Gables, a little by Ellen Montgomery, A Little Princess by Frances Hodgson Burnett, Heidi by Johanna Spire, and Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. These are Penguin... I don't remember. Puffin and Bloom, yes. These are the Penguin, Puffin and Blue classics. Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. Persuasion by Jane Austen. Emma, Pride and Prejudice, both by Jane Austen. Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. Collected Poems, Prose, and Plays by Robert Frost. A Farewell to Arms by Ernest Hemingway. Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. Beware Princess Elizabeth by Carolyn Meyer. Holes by Louis Cypher. Loser and Stargirl, both by Jerry Spinelli. The Blessings of Giving by Floy Steiner Bell. The Hidden Magic of Walt Disney World, 2nd edition, by Susan Vaness. And because I'm a nerd, I have the Merrick Manual of Medical Information, home edition, and yes, I have read this cover to cover. Okay, so this is more of our classics. So these are more like our classic children's stories and fairy tales. So first we have annotated Hans Christian Andersen tales, edited with an introduction and notes by Maria Tatar. We also have a collection of the fairy tales of the Brothers Grimm, the Roald Dahl Treasury, and the Complete Tales of Winnie the Pooh by A.A. Milne. We have all 7 of the Chronicles of Narnia books. I don't want to pull them out because they're packed in there pretty tight, but the first one is The Magician's Nephew, the second one is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, the third is The Horse and His Boy, book 4 is Prince Caspian, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader is book 5, The Silver Chair is book 6, and finally The Last Battle is book 7. Then we have The Series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket. I don't have all of them right now because I'm working on getting them in hardback. I used to have them on paperback, and then I decided I wanted them in hardback. So right now all I have is The Bad Beginning, The Reptile Room, The Miserable Mill, The Austere Academy, The Ersatz Elevator, The Carnivorous Carnival, The Slippery Slope, The Grim Grotto, The Something Peril. Lemony Snicket's really good about making his titles very, like, tongue-twistery. And then I have The End. So I'm missing The Wide Window, The Vile Village, and the Hostile Hospital. I can't believe I remembered that off the top of my head. But yeah, I plan to get them eventually, so I'll have them all. Okay, so this last shelf is just kind of everything that doesn't fit anywhere else. There is some order to the chaos. I'm not going to take any of it out just because it's what's easy to get to is all photo albums and you don't really need to see that anyway, and then what's not easy to get to is just, it's not worth it. So I'll point it out to you, but I'm not going to pull any of it out. I will pull this out though, so you can kind of see what it is. This is where I keep all my booktube stuff, so it's like all my like lists that I want to do and stuff. Like I haven't done that one yet, so sneak peek. That kind of thing is kept in there. These are all photo albums. Most of them are from Disney World because we're huge Disney people, and I also just got into DCP, so there will be more where that came from, I'm sure. And then this stack over here is kind of just everything else. This is my Bible case that I hardly ever use because I don't like them. We have Webster's Collegiate Dictionary of the English Language, which we'll probably never get rid of. We've had it forever. The Beatles Complete Chords Songbook, because I've entertained the idea of learning guitar. I have a guitar, I just haven't actually learned it. And my mom thought that would be good motivation, but apparently not. And then we have 2 Harry Potter coloring books, Magical Places and Characters, and then just the regular one. We also have one of my favorite children's books, The Rainbow Fish. I don't know who it's by because it's been a long time. And it doesn't actually say her first name on this, but whatever. And then we also have the complete novels of the Bronte sisters. The Beauty of Britain, which is just this little, like, picture book full of all of these beautiful sights you can see in Britain that our grandparents gave Beth. And then this is a binder that I have my book that I'm writing in. It'll probably never get published, so don't ask. But I've been editing it since I was like 15. I'm a perfectionist, so it'll never be ready for anyone's eyes but my own, so sorry. But that sits there. And then we have a bubble wand from Disney World because we are literally 5 years old and we're at Disney. And the last thing on here is the Pride and Prejudice coloring book. So, it just kind of goes. And the bottom shelf has a bunch of pop figures, but I will show you guys that in a different video when I do what's on my shelf. So, yeah. Okay, so that's all of our books on our shelves. Clearly it's a different day. It took 2 days to film just because work and life got in the way, but I hope you guys enjoyed seeing all of our beautiful books. I'm going to do a video where I'll show you all of our knickknacks and point them all out to you so that you can see all that fun stuff. I'll also point out some more Christmas decorations because it's decorated for the holidays. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and let me know what you thought or anything, or if you saw anything that interested you and you want to know a little bit more about it, just let me know. So I'll see you guys next time, because nobody really cares. Like, let's be honest.
Let's be honest. What's that from?
Pitch Perfect.
Is it?
Since we're all confessing things.
Let's be honest.
I have a serious gambling problem. What? It all started when I broke up with my girlfriend. Woo! There it is!